Take fourth row on the right.
Hey Tyrese, a couple of years ago, in that first in-season tournament run, NBA Cup run that you guys had, we asked you about how you guys got there and if LeBron was like the final monster of a video game or something like that. And you said that it felt like you guys weren't supposed to be there, like you guys were beating teams every time. It feels like similar now to these playoffs. How did that run help you guys get where you are now in these final two playoff runs?
Yeah, I think every moment throughout our journey as a group is a stepping stone. You learn from the good, learn from the bad to get to where we are today. So, all the good games, all the bad games, high-scoring games, low-scoring games, they're all lessons at the end of the day to get to where we are today. And here we are. So, it's all part of the journey.
Over here on the left.
Robert O'Connell, Wall Street Journal. Tyrese, you mentioned the other day in 2011 maybe not being the most massive Rick Carlisle fan. Is there that team, the 2011 Mavs, is going up against LeBron in the finals? Can you walk me through, as a guy who grew up, loving LeBron's game, what do you remember of watching that series, the emotions, the frustration of seeing them pull that upset? Was it maybe your first intro to what Carlisle can do with an underdog team?
I really recall that being kind of like my first intro to basketball. My earliest recollection of watching the game is 2010 NBA. So I feel like that was really the growth of me as a basketball fan and really starting to appreciate the game more. But yeah, I don't know if I necessarily remember a ton of the X's and O's stuff. I remember I was confused as to why Dallas was winning. I didn't necessarily understand it. But yeah, no, I think that it's funny to look back on and think about. I think about that all the time in my journey here in the NBA. Is how much I've watched and learned, and how I'm here, in it. So it's funny to think back on, and here I am with Coach Carlisle now. So it's definitely pretty cool.
Vince on the right.
Tyrese, Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. This has been an emotional 4 games so far to this series, a lot of swings. With the way Game 4 ended and the disappointment of it, how do you flush that, if you flush it at all? How do you put that behind you mentally, emotionally?
Well, there's still a lot of games to be played. There's still a lot that can happen. I think once you get to the playoffs, I don't think it's so much about flushing things, because you really got to take every game, see where you did well, see where you could do better, and learn from that. So I think in the regular season it's different. You play 82 games, play a team in game 10 that you probably don't see again until game 60. So it's just all right, flush it and move on to the next. In the playoffs, it's a little different. You don't really get the right to flush games. You got to learn from everything and watch the film and see where you can get better in every area. So game 4 didn't end the way we wanted it to, but the biggest thing is you can't let one spiral into 2. You can't take the disappointment of that game and let it be a snowball effect. It's you got to be ready to go for game 5 here again, a hostile environment, and we're both 2 games away. So anything can happen from here, and so you just got to kind of move on as quickly as you can, see where you can get better, watch the film, which we've done a lot of over the last 2 days, have a good practice today, and get ready to go for tomorrow.
Michael, hear you.
Tyrese, Michael Grange from Sportsnet in Toronto, and I'm just wondering, for a young team, what's impressed you, maybe even surprised you about the way your group has risen to the level of competition, the fatigue, what's demanded of teams trying to win a title here in the finals?
Yeah, there's no surprises, to be honest with you. I know our group very well. I'm proud of our resilience. We've had to find different ways to win, for the last 2-3 months. So proud of that. We just continue to respond. So, it's not the time to necessarily reflect on how the year's been. We still got a lot of work in front of us, but definitely excited about our group and look forward to continue to compete with these guys tomorrow.
Joe.
I know a lot of these sound similar, but it's a 2-2 series, and I'm just wondering how you feel about where you are right now, whether you're trying to handicap what's happened or what's to come, or just how you feel about it.
I feel great. It's the best part about playoff series is, when you get the chance to respond. I think that's the great thing about sports. It's You're gonna have good games, you're gonna have bad games, but there's nothing like the game to respond. So I look forward to doing that with this group and coming out and competing, and we got to be ready for a really big challenge that lies ahead with this team and in this environment. So I'm really looking forward to doing that with my teammates and seeing how we respond.
Tim on the left.
Tyrese, I know when you're playing in it, who's watching doesn't matter, but one of the big storylines coming in was these are two, quote, small market teams, whatever. The ratings haven't been great. What would you tell people who, for whatever reason, chose not to watch this, what they're missing?
I do not care, to be honest with you. This is high-level basketball, and I'm excited to be a part of it. So, I couldn't care less.
We'll go last two on the right, and then Alvaro in the middle.
Josie Pavone, Clutch Points. Tyrese, just over the past few years, what you've seen out of Aaron Nesmith, just coming from a younger player, still trying to find his way in the league, to the starter that he's become, and just some very impressive performances throughout this postseason. Just overall, what you've seen from him throughout this time.
Yeah, we traded for AA. I didn't know a ton about him. I knew we were in the same draft class, and kind of always mentioned as like two of the top shooters in our class. So I knew that, but I didn't really know anything about him, to be honest. And the more I've gotten to know him, there's not another guy out there that I'd rather go to war with. To be honest with you, I know that he's going to give 110% at all times. He works his tail off to get to where he is, and I think I've said it many times, but every NBA team wants to have a guy like Aaron Nesmith. His effort is unbelievable, his energy, his attitude, all those things. I know he's going to show up every day and be the same guy, and I think that's what I appreciate about him, the most.
Alvaro, last one in the middle.
Aldo Martin Ridmo. Every player I ask to remember their best games, their most outstanding games, their games in which they did something on offense. In your case, you almost had a triple-double. So they remember the stats even. What are your best defensive games that you can remember? And did we see one in these finals?
Yeah, it's a funny question. I'm not necessarily known as a great defender. I don't know. I think any time or any game that I could just be in the right spots for us is important. I think that through this playoff series, especially Game 3, I thought we did a great job defensively of closing the game. So for me, I think I don't really look at where I am individually as a defender. It's like team defensively, I feel like more times than not, if we're having a good team defensive game, I'm as solid as can be. So that's kind of how I try to look at it. I hope that our best defensive effort lies ahead. That's the goal. So, look forward to the challenge.
Thank you, Tyrese.
Appreciate it.
Pascal.